150 milliliters of warm water and 2 tablespoons of caster sugar. So now we want to get 150 milliliters of warm water. You should run your fingers under it so that it's warm. We don't want it to be too hot because otherwise it'll kill the yeast and you won't be able to make bread. But let's do it. So this is 150 milliliters and now we can move on to the next step. Okay, so now we're going to measure out 2.5 teaspoons of active dry yeast, and then after that we're going to pour in all the water into this. Now you should get a small fork and mix the yeast with the water for a little bit and then set this to the side and wait for 10 to 15 minutes or until the yeast is bloomed. And I'm just going to set this aside because that was a little bit extra yeast that I didn't need. But now we're going to make our psyllium, husk gel. I figured out how to say this, and it's psyllium husk. So now I'm going to make my psyllium husk gel. So this is, I actually learned that psyllium husk is like a must need for when you're making like gluten-free sourdough. So that's why I went to go pick it up. Okay, so we need to measure out 20 grams of psyllium husk, and I'm just going to put it in this bowl. Oh, messy. Okay, there we are. Now I'm just going to put this into the water. I'm just going to mix it, and it says in 15 to 30 seconds it'll become a gel. So my psyllium husk has become a gel, and now we're just going to move on to the next step. Now we're going to mix in all our dry ingredients. We need 130 grams of buckwheat flour, 90 grams of brown rice flour, and then we need 100 grams of potato starch. And do not use potato flour because these are different things. So we have got all our dry ingredients, and now we can mix them all together. So here I have all my dry ingredients, and they're all mixed. Okay, and now we have to add our yeast. Whoa. And then we also have to add our psyllium gel. Whoa, this is made a really nice, like, thick gel. Surprised. And we also have to add apple cider vinegar, which I'm just about to measure. I only need 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar, so I'm just about to measure that out. Oh, okay. I made a little bit of a mess, but it's fine. Now we gotta mix all of these together with our hands. This was very tough to knead because it was just so sticky. So I had to wash my hands for like a good 2-3 minutes. But yeah, now I need to transfer this dough into a lightly oiled bowl for it to rise. So I've lightly oiled this bowl, and now I'm going to transfer this dough into here. So now that that's in the bowl, I have a damp cloth that I'm going to put over it. And then I'm just going to set it aside and let it rise for 1 hour. It's been 1 hour since I left this to rise, and I'm going to see it for the first time. Oh, it looks nice. I'm impressed. looks good. I'm about to get started with kneading my dough, but it recommends that I should lightly oil my hands. So here I have some olive oil, and I'm just going to put a little bit onto my hand, and I'm just going to mix them together and start kneading. And now I'm going to get a different bowl, and I'm going to dust it with brown rice flour, and I'm going to put it on the seam side down, the seam side up, so then this part will be at the bottom. Okay, so once again we have put the same down cloth on, and we're going to leave it for an hour to proof. While we're waiting for our dough to proof, preheat the oven to 480 degrees. Okay, so it's been 1 hour, and I'm going to check my dough. Oh, so pretty. And then now we have to do a Dutch oven. So this is a little bit complicated. So you can either use a Dutch oven or a skillet. Okay, I'm using a Dutch oven to bake my bread. And I have 4 ice cubes, that's recommended. And I'm just going to put them around the Dutch oven. And then I'm going to put my bread, the dough, into here, and then I'm going to score it and then put it in the Dutch oven. Okay, this is my bread, and I've scored it with just a simple pattern, which is a cross. And on the top, it's brown rice flour that I explained before. But what we're going to do is we're going to bake the bread in this Dutch oven for 20 minutes in the oven. So then we'll just close the lid and we'll bake it, and I'll tell you what to do next. Okay, so it has been 20 minutes and now I'm going to look at our bread. Okay, I think I'm just going to take this off and leave it for another 40 to 50 minutes. This is what my bread looks like. You can see the scoring, and it's a beautiful brown color. This is the final product.